Does the gaming industry have a gambling problem? To be clear, I'm referring to the video games industry, not the, gaming industry that actually does all the gambling. And the simple and short answer would be kind of yes. Video games, especially multiplayer ones, free-to-play ones, and those social things, tend to have a bit of a gambling issue in them. And by that, I don't mean that each and every game is in the same situation in which you find Counter-Strike Global Operations. Global Offensive. There aren't what you would call a bajillion sites that let you gamble with items gained in each of those games. The issue goes a bit deeper than just the gambling you have seen in the past few days that's been regged up, and Valve will kind of get themselves into a class action lawsuit because the basic idea is that they have made a game, a system that can be used for gambling quite easily, and they haven't clamped down on it in any way, shape or form. And that's because gambling and video games have gone hand in hand since slot machines. Would you call a slot machine a video game? Kinda, yeah. A crappy video game. A really, really shitty video game where winning and losing is totally arbitrary and in no way under your control, apart from maybe the moment when you pulled the thingamajig, the arm, and that moment the seed was used to calculate the random number, which then gives you your result. That's if there's a video component for the slot machine, as in it's computerized, it's digital. Otherwise it would be just a slot machine. But when it's digital, yeah, there's a video gamey feel to it because, how shall I put this? Do you know how many other games are completely and utterly random when it comes to the chances of you winning or losing? Like, no matter what your skill is, no matter how well you believe you can play, no matter how hard you try, it's all down to luck. Take Hearthstone for example. It's all down to luck. Completely down to luck. And I don't use Hearthstone as a throwaway example just for this tiny bit. No. Hearthstone is an example of games that take gambling a bit too much as a core element of their design. And I don't just mean that you will lose because of completely utter random bullshit or because you haven't prayed to RNGesus. I'm referring especially to the main way in which you gain new cards. You buy packs either with in-game gold or with real money. You have no guarantee that you will actually get cards you want, you need, or have any actual use for. None. It's random. It's gambling. And as you've seen in the pack cracking I did a while ago, it is bullshitty randomness to the extreme because you will often get crap. In order to get the actual cards you need, you have to invest a lot of coins or a lot of money. And without those cards, without the cards that will let you actually build a working functional deck that fits into the meta, man, remember when games didn't have a meta? When you could just play them to enjoy them and there weren't any net decking scumbags in games, like probably in Magic the Gathering about 20 years ago, and that's about it. But yeah, without those cards, your chances of actually being efficient at the game are very slim. The best you can hope for is to craft them when you have enough dust, which you also collect by getting duplicates from cracking packs. Hearthstone's economy is entirely built upon gambling, and everyone's okay with that. They don't see any sort of issue. Sort of like they don't see any issue with Diablo 3 basically being built in such a way that you in no way, shape or form are immersed into its world. Its fantasy does not exist. It's so blatantly gamey, like in the worst way possible, that its mechanics do not in any way try to fit the world. And again, the reason is gambling. Now, gambling has been a part of this series, of this genre, since the get-go. Random loot is addictive as hell. It's like every one of those mobs, every one of those bosses is a giant slot machine just waiting to give you that that thing you need. All you have to do is keep pulling that lever. You know, it's probably gonna drop some crap. It's probably gonna be 1 cherry, a 7, and a star. But one of these days you're gonna get 777 and you will win big. That's what keeps you coming back. That's what makes you want to try some more. Well, that and the fun gameplay. And the fun you can have just building your character out of skills and not just items you randomly get and probably won't. But Diablo 3 had another issue regarding this because they had the auction house, which was a direct way to monetize the gambling in the game, the slot machine monsters. And Blizzard, again, didn't see a problem with that. And it's not their fault. Again, not many people in the industry actually see a problem with gambling. They see it as a thing, a mechanic, something they can use, often against the players. You see it in those social games, most of them. You see them as those daily rewards where you get to spin a wheel. Yes, spin that wheel and see what's your daily reward. Keep coming back to spin that wheel. Keep coming back and gamble, gamble, gamble. You may get a reward or probably not. You probably won't ever get a reward that's actually good. But come back and gamble. It's attractive, it's alluring. And some games have taken this to extremes. Well, in some ways, Counter-Strike, Dota, Team Fortress 2, the Valve games already take it to an uncomfortable extreme because the gambling element is locked behind a paywall, one which they encourage you to pass by buying keys. Otherwise, why would you get those constant crate drops? Hey look, another crate, don't you want to open it? I mean, Counter-Strike actually has in the main menu keys. Hey look, keys for sale over here, come on, get your keys. You have so many crates, get the key, you know you want to. Now for an adult, that may not be well, no, yeah, it's an issue for adults, a big issue often for adults, and especially for kids, younger people that don't have a filter, don't have a limit to their inhibition and will fall for it, will just want to win. They know they will win. I mean, what are the chances of winning something good? It's gotta be like 1 in 100, right? So if they open 10 crates, then the chances of them winning will be 1 in 90. See, it's getting closer to winning something good, something great. Of course, gambling doesn't work that way. The chances of you winning are none. They're mathematically negligible, but you believe that maybe the next one's gonna be the one that's gonna give you that knife that you're gonna sell for $400 and you're gonna be rich. You're gonna buy every game on Steam, or just more keys to open more crates to get more money and you'll be broke soon. But still, that's just skins. That's just something you can't actually use in game that will give you an advantage. Well, unlike Hearthstone, for example, or Diablo 3, or hey, didn't Payday have a similar system where their skins would give you bonuses to statistics, which was kind of scummy, and still you had on Twitter developers of the game saying, well look, who cares what the naysayers are saying, our game is more popular than ever. Yeah, because it was a free weekend gold farb, but they removed that because they realized it was stupid. Well, I think they said they were gonna remove it. I haven't checked it out yet. I'm not gonna check it because if they didn't remove it, if they didn't just make skins cosmetic, I'm gonna be very sad. Well, not completely sad, because I used to play a lot of free MMOs. I did a weekly show for about 2 or 3 years where I probably showcased over 100 free MMOs, or close to 100. I have no idea how many they were. At one time I was starting to stretch the idea of MMO into stuff like Guns, the Duel, which wasn't actually an MMO because they were arena shooter thingamajigs like you'd say Overwatch is, which also has a gambling-ish issue, but it's a lot less annoying than other games have, because you can just get those crates opened automatically when they drop, or you can just buy them and they drop. So Blizzard is improving on the whole gambling thing, but back to the MMO idea. A lot of MMOs, especially those coming from Asia, really recommend you see my Dark Age of the MMO show. it will put sadness in your soul. They build MMOs specifically to fuck with people, to fuck with their heads, to create systems of oppression. Yeah, I see you typing in the comments. Stop it. I don't mean those kind of systems of oppression. I'm talking about establishing a system similar to what the real world can be, with gangs of rich players just owning poorer players. And to that system they also added gambling. They added very powerful items, ones that you can't obtain directly in any way, shape or form in the game, and they put them in loot boxes. Now those boxes will give you a random item. There's a chance, like in Voice Century Online, you will get a Santa suit. There's a chance you will get a double XP scroll. There's a chance you'll get a very powerful repair kit that will fix everything forever. You will get all sorts of awesome, amazing rewards. Or you could get crap. Mostly you will get crap because they made them specifically to sucker people. I was younger when I played that game, and it got to me. Like, I was actually looking forward to buying those crates and opening them. Well, not buying with real world money, I'm not that stupid. I bought them with in-game money. Money which I gained by being Satan Claus, Terror of the Caribbean. You haven't lived until a man dressed in a Santa suit, muscles Santa suit like Hulk Hogan was in that Santa with Muscles movie, chases you around your ship with a rapier. Man, that game was total garbage, but it was fun until you realize it was total garbage. And a lot of games like Void Century Online had that gambling element in their item shop. Hey, buy this item, you may get something good, you may get complete crap, but make sure to buy a lot of it, constantly, weekly. You're gonna get some dough, you're gonna get something good, eventually. You know, the gambler's fallacy. Well, I've lost 9 times, the 10th one, absolutely I will win. No, you won't. You won't ever win. The chances of you winning are statistically insignificant. But of course, that's just statistics. And statistically, 1 in a million chances happen in 7 out of 10 cases, is I believe the quote from one of the Discworld novels. Though in reality they don't. They really don't happen all that often. The basic idea is that games have a lot of gambling in them, and if it's not properly handled, it may get people a bit too accustomed to the idea of gambling, to the point where you see gambling sites with games, like ones where you just buy a thing, a widget, the whatchamacallit, and in it there may be some games, you know, gotten from G2A when it was something on sale, gotten from several free places, stuff that's almost worthless up to a point, and actually completely worthless because some of those sites are completely and utterly fake, but we've educated kids through games that gambling like that is okay, and that's a bit of a problem. Now, I'm not against the idea of gambling. I do it every day when I cross the street, not because there's cars, but because the street may collapse. I believe they dug out Satan around here some time ago, but that's besides the point. But the idea is that gambling in-game should be treated a bit more tactfully, especially when it's a core element of a game. You shouldn't actually encourage people to spend actual money in your game to gamble. And Valve, you shouldn't facilitate gambling operations run by the goddamn mafia, because you can be sure the mafia has ties to the Counter-Strike gambling sites and all sorts of other stuff. What, you think you can't get money out of gambling with Counter-Strike items, like real actual money? You think that just because all that money is left in your Steam account you can't get it out? Yeah, you can. Just put a game on Steam. What, you don't think the Mafia has games on Steam? Have you seen some of the games on Steam? Have you seen them? My god, some of them are not even... There was a slideshow. There was a slideshow got on Steam. Do you believe the Mafia has any sort of problems getting games on Steam? Oh god, no. And speaking of Mafia, don't put out the hit on me. Like, I'm really actually quite worried about any hitman you send after me, because I don't live in a very nice place. Like, they had to evict Satan for being too nice. We have a stabbing quota here if the stereotype is to be believed. It is sometimes. Well, that would be it for my point of view on gambling in video games. It's everywhere. It's benign at times, but it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, it's omnipresent. And that's a tiny bit disturbing. I'd really like to see what your take on the matter is. Do you believe that gambling can be a force for good in video games? Would you be okay with us opening our own Counter-Strike gambling website where absolutely no rigging will take place? I promise. Would I lie to you? I mean, me, random idiot on the internet, would I lie to you? Of course I won't, as far as you know. See you next time, where I'm gonna try and talk about that thing with technology that I wanted to talk about today, but, well, this came up. See you then. If you enjoyed this show, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Or, if you thought it was horrible, then share it with your enemies and make them suffer. We shall be your weapon of vengeance. But if you liked what you saw, you could, I don't know, maybe donate, because basically YouTube is horrible at revenue, by using the link in the description, or just buy my book. It's a fantasy book about, well, a lot of stuff. I guarantee it won't suck, and if it does suck, you can find me here and complain about it.